Welcome everyone to the Alienware Arena North American Challenge number 3. I'm JP McDaniel. My co-caster for this event is going to be none other than Blake Chill Muzar. I hope I said your last name right, Chill.
It's all right. Yes, that is accurate.
I got it. First
Good job.
try.
Nailed it.
The first test has been passed here. How you doing, Chill? It's been a while since we've casted one of these.
Yeah, I've been doing fantastic. Playing a little bit of Terran. I heard they're pretty strong, so I've been going over to that, and we've got a Terran today, so
nice.
That lines up nicely.
Yeah, that might come in handy. So guys, if you're not sure who our two players are going to be, it's going to be DDE going up against RSVP, and these two players have quite the tournament history. Chill, I know you were kind of researching that a little bit before. They've played, I think, 4 best-of-3s in finals, or is it 3 best-of-3s in finals?
Yeah, I was taking a look. I came across 2 just on the first page recently, so they have a little bit of history there. DDE, I think, is a name a lot of people are going to know going all the way back on It's Gosu. RSVP, you know, you research him and you hear things kind of coming through the grapevine. I think he's got a little bit to prove. I've heard from my sources a little bit cheesy, and the games I watched with him quickly were largely 4 gates. But he's on complexity, so I don't know how much improvement he's made in say, the last month since his last set of replays. So it'll be interesting to see what he brings to this.
Yeah, it will be indeed. It's going to be a TVP. I'm kind of excited for this because patch 1.4 did just come out. I want to see what new builds and strategies players are doing out there. So we might be seeing some of those here in this series. Now, just to kind of tell you guys who these players went through to get here, DDE took out that Brony guy. He took out SGM Hayu, Obsolete Man, iDrone, and on the other side of the bracket, RSVP took out Picnic, Agile, ISJ Echo, and Mystic from Check 6. And these players, of course, are playing for that $1,000 first place prize. Second place is going to be $500. Third and fourth has already been decided. That went to iDrone and Check 6 Mystic. So a lot of money on the line here, Chill.
Yeah, and if I'm not mistaken, DD took the last series. Am I right on that? Or
yeah, Alienware the second one of these DDE took. Select took the first one of these.
Right.
So is it going to be 3 Terrans in a row? I hope not, because man, Terrans win a lot of tournaments, Chill.
As a Team Liquid moderator, I also hope not.
Oh man, I do not envy your role at Team Liquid whatsoever, Chill. That must be. It actually must be kind of fun to be able to get rid of someone that you don't agree with on the forums. So
we never do that, JP. But we were talking about this on the pregame. Open bracket, only 336 players. I mean, $1,000 for first place. DDE's making a living off it. So you know, people need to get in here and start signing up for this tournament. Yeah,
there's a lot of tournaments out there that like this one that people really just don't know too much about. I mean, the IGN, the IPL, or excuse me, the IPLs, the NASLs, the MLGs, we kind of eclipse all these other smaller tournaments, and there's still a lot of money to be had in these smaller tournaments. So I'm very excited to be able to bring you guys these games, but first we have to thank our wonderful sponsors at Alienware. So we're going to cut to a quick commercial break. When we come back, it's going to be game 1 between DDE and RSVP on MLG Shakura's Plateau. See you guys then. All right, guys, short and sweet. That's how we like our commercials, of course, here in the esports world. Let's go ahead and jump into game 1. It's, of course, going to be on MLG Shakura's Plateau. You're obviously very familiar with this map if you followed anything MLG. It's one of the most common ladder maps, or was for some time. Is it still in the ladder pool, Chill? I don't.
Yep.
It is still in the ladder pool. I usually have this map and a couple of the other ones blocked out, so I guess I don't play it all that often.
No, you got to play on all the maps, man.
Yeah, I do. I need to. It definitely helps. But let's do some player shoutouts. We got Complexity RSVP up here at the 2 o'clock position as the red Protoss. And down here, it's going to be DDE from It's Gosu spawning as the blue Terran.
Yeah, and you know, I really like starting out on Shakura's Plateau because PvT, we're always going to be thinking about, oh, 1-1-1. I know the Immortal buff kind of tried to deal with that. Slowing down the barracks also tried to deal with that problem. But Shakura's Plateau, you have that nice ramp up to your natural, very easy to defend. 1-1-1 not going to be a big threat here as we look down the map pool, and specifically map number 3 on Zelnaga Caverns. That's where I'm expecting that's going to be busted out. But here we should see like a nice movement towards the mid game, a nice macro game here.
Yeah, so in the pregame, we were talking a little bit how patch 1.4 might be shaking things up. In this matchup, I think probably one of the more obvious choices to talk about from that patch would be that Immortal buff with the range increase. And it's definitely going to help in a lot of those fights where the Immortals were previously in the back row, not able to fire. Now they might actually be able to dish out some of that damage. It can really change the course of a fight.
Yeah, it's really changed the mid game, even when 1-1-1 isn't a factor. You're seeing a lot of these 3 Immortal rushes where Protoss goes out to, say, a 2-gate Robo, then expands, Chronos out 3 Immortals, and then tries to break the Terran expansion. We're seeing that a lot. We're also seeing Warp Prisms used a lot more in PvT.
That's awesome.
Yeah, exactly. Dropping those sentries on, isolating the ramp, and just causing problems for Terran. So always nice to see Protoss on the harass giving side instead of the receiving side.
Yeah, and I don't think the Warp Prism thing can be stated enough. I mean, we always mention it on State of the Game. I think it comes up all the time in strategy forums over on Team Liquid. But it's just really one of those units in StarCraft 2 that has not been utilized. And with this latest patch, I definitely think that it's going to be one of the major, like the core units of a Protoss army, especially in the mid game.
Right. So we see RSVP got into the natural of DDE, but he wasn't able to get into the main as he scouted the wrong position first. He's not going to see the gasless fast expansion from DDE, so going a little bit blind. Maybe he'll be able to infer that, but if you look at his vision, he is completely unaware that's going on. And look at this little ninja probe. Maybe we'll get around, but the Marines running back. Very nice by DDE. Will he put that on the move command? And now RSVP has to know now. He saw the bunker going up, so he's got to know the expansion is going up.
Indeed. So in the meantime, what is RSVP doing? Well, he's moving out kind of like what of all the Protosses that I've actually seen respond to this. He's probably going to drop a fast expand build off of 1-gate himself. He might drop down tech, but nope, there goes the probe, and the Nexus should soon follow here at the natural. We'll go ahead and wait for that. And in the meantime, over in DDE side of things, he's got his bunker up, which makes all the sense in the world because, of course, Stalkers pretty much destroy Marines in even in large numbers like that. A 4v1, a Stalker can win if controlled correctly in the open field.
Yeah, you got to be really careful on that, really clean. You don't want to lose that Stalker in the early game, but can deal so much damage to the Marines if you dance it back and forth. As you mentioned, we see RSVP putting that Nexus down. It's going to be behind as DD is already mining from his natural with 4 SCVs there and turning his command center into an orbital command. So RSVP going to get a little bit of the worse for wear in the early game, little bit of a late expansion, and also he kept mining gas. I would have liked him, once he realized that natural expansion was going up for DD, I would have loved to see RSVP stop mining gas, get his Nexus down quicker.
Yeah, now actually in the MLG Global Invitational the other day, we saw a very similar series between Thorzane and Sase, the way this is kind of shaping up to be. But you know, I'll mention that in just a little bit. DDE is actually going to be moving out with this Marauder. He does not have slow. RSVP slipping up a little bit, and that Stalker is going to lose a couple HP. The shields will recharge, though, very quickly. And it looks like DDE is just going to move back. I actually quite like what DDE just did. Forced his opponent back, kind of feigned some pressure, and with that, it's really going to put RSVP kind of guessing as to what's actually happening.
Yeah, exactly. It's going to make him feel very uncomfortable. And RSVP was lucky there because when that Marauder hit, concussive shells were about 3 to 5 seconds away from finishing. So if he got tagged by one of those concussive shells, he would have been completely shut down and killed. But that Stalker gets away, gets to fight another day. RSVP saved up a lot of chrono boosts. He's sitting at 60 energy in his Nexus. He's dropping that on the Warp Gate and on the Robotics to get this first Immortal out. He, of course, goes Immortal first so that he can defend this pressure, and then he'll get the Observer out. I like that decision, and I'm expecting DD is just going to poke up here and then run away once he sees what's waiting for him. And looks like that's exactly what he does.
Yeah, he needs to be careful, though. These Stalkers obviously a lot faster than these Bioforces of DDE, and he's definitely going to pick out one of those Marines. He could have continued a little bit further, although those Marauders do have those concussive shells, so it will slow them if they get too close. Now, going back over into DDE's base, what is he up to? He's adding on that second bunker, and he feels a little bit pressured himself. He also has a third command center, so a quick third after he saturates here off of these 3 command centers.
Yeah, and conversely, RSVP is going for the Colossus Rush. He's got his Robotics Bay already completed, chronoing out that first Colossus. This is a build I really don't like because it is absolutely terrible against any sort of mid-game timings, but we can see, I don't know if it's luck or he knows his opponent, but going for that third orbital command is really going to delay DDE's push, and that's going to make the Colossus build very strong. So RSVP has kind of played the rock to DDE's scissors here.
Indeed, Marine going to be taken out here by the Xel'Naga, or excuse me, by the Xel'Naga Tower, by the Stalkers. Another Marine over at the other Xel'Naga Tower will fall back, and it should be seen. I wonder if he'll go down there and chase it. Doesn't much matter. 1 Marine, 50 minerals. Doesn't really pay too much to lose that. And DD's actually going to go for a full wall off here. He's added on 2 more racks up to 5. A scan going down. He does eliminate that 1 observer, but there is another one over at the ramp. Meanwhile, back in RSVP's base, he's almost close to getting extended thermal lance out there. Second Colossus will be coming out. And does DDE notice that Colossus are out? He does not see the robotics bay, but he's got to think, well, he's chrono boosting something out of there, so it's probably going to be a Colossus right now.
Yeah, let's keep an eye once his starport finishes on what he gets out of this starport. If he gets a few medevacs, as the reactor is now switching on the factory, going to swap that around. I'm going to be interested to see if he goes straight for Vikings. Probably not, but that'll kind of give us insight into what he's thinking. Thermal Lance is just about done. 2 Colossi out. This is a nice little push that Protosses have been doing forever. The 2 Colossus attack, trying to break the natural. It hits at such a sick timing, and he's going for medevac, so this may do a lot of damage. Thermal Lance just about to complete. This is a scary timing for DDE. He's going to have to be very crisp at this wall.
Yeah, his Marines do not even have that combat shield, so they're going to fall very quickly. And while he actually is about to move out, well, maybe not anymore because the Colossus has started ranging down that depot. I was pretty worried there for DDE. He's going to have to get some SCVs to repair that. We do see 1 Viking started already, but that's not going to be enough, especially to take out 2 of these Colossus with the added Stalkers on the ground. He cleans up some of those SCVs. 1 of the depots goes down. The second one should be going down here in just a couple of seconds. Colossus does take all of its shields off, but he's just continuing to range down this bunker line.
Yeah, this is such a powerful build by RSVP on this map because DDE just absolutely cannot run through that choke. He'll get force fielded and blasted down by that Immortal. Without Vikings, he has nothing to stand on. Now the first Viking is out, and he should be using that to range down the Colossus. There we go. RSVP going to push forward and try to snipe that off, but that's dangerous as the bunkers go to work on those Stalkers and Sentries. This is the game of cat and mouse, and now with that Viking out, he can press him back. And looks like there's a drop over here. DDE has dropped some units around to the side and is driving into the natural. Gonna pick up a Colossus, maybe? Oh, no, he doesn't get it.
Yeah, that Colossus is going to be what keeps RSVP right now from losing his expansion. But it took way too much HP, and RSVP is actually going to have to fall all the way back to his base. A ton of probes are being taken out here by DDE. There's that Colossus coming back. It does have a couple of its shields recharged, but the stem is going down, and he will most definitely lose that Colossus. And that drop pretty much is keeping, I mean, it's the one thing that DDE has done this game that's kept him in it thus far.
Yeah, very unfortunate for RSVP there. He warped in a round of units at his natural and then baited DDE into his main. So DDE said, okay, I'll take that, stemmed, ran up and took out the Colossus. RSVP would really prefer to have that back. He's had this warp gate in his main base forever, or excuse me, as a gateway, not as a warp gate. So he's got to get that under control. Working on his upgrades, he's chronoing out +1 armor. He's got that Twilight Cancel out, but nothing coming out of it yet. And DDE with these drops in control, just getting, applying a little bit of pressure to get RSVP back, and that's exactly what he needed.
He did take out one of those medevacs, however, the one with all the units still remains, so that drop threat is still there. And DDE is actually going to move out on the map. He has got a total of 5 Vikings, and there's 3 Colossus for RSVP. Templar Archive started. Charge is actually very, very late out of that Twilight Council, but he obviously didn't have enough of the resources. DDE actually blocking the 3rd over here for RSVP. There is an observer out on the map. It has seen the forces in the center, and yet again the drop has come back, and it's got to get lifted off again.
He's got to be careful not to overcommit. These dropping units are not going to kill that much. Their purpose is to keep RSVP where he wants him. So he really needs to keep that alive, especially because charge is coming out of that Twilight Council. No blink means drops are super effective. We can see RSVP responding by leaving a Stalker and Zealot behind and actually warping in more units to try to deal with that drop. And DDE responds by taking another base. He's taking top left's natural, dropping down those 2 refineries and mainerding over those SCVs. Got complete map control here, and I don't know that RSVP can come back. If you look at the income tab, it can't be understated that he's actually down by 16 workers here.
Now, one thing that RSVP does have going for him is, of course, Psystorm. Templars are obviously very good against Bio, and Archons are extremely good. If he can get charge, get a big enough force. You know, I said that, but then I saw the Ghost, and I saw
3 ghosts already.
DDE's forces merged together. I thought that was his entire army, but now he's almost maxed. I don't actually think RSVP can come back. I'm on your side now, Chill.
He's actually got no Mobius reactor, but he's actually got 3 EMPs already ready in those Ghosts. So RSVP, he might want to wait a little bit here, let both players max and then move out. But I'm just don't think he knows how far behind he is.
Yeah, and the factory is going to fall over here at the 3rd. RSVP needs that. Well, okay, it is going to burn down. I thought he was just going to leave with it still flying, but the Nexus is going down, and he really needs that 3rd to get up to get back in this game. But look at the Viking count. It might be a little bit too much for only 3 Colossus, but the rest of his army is just going to chew through this. Chill, if you ever had one to watch a one-sided battle, it's about to happen.
Well, let's see how good the EMPs are, and let's see what magic RSVP can do. Vikings shooting a little bit, and here comes the majority of the Terran forces moving forward. EMPs are good on the High Templar, and that means there's nothing left. 1 High Templar coming forward, and yeah, everything's going to die here. Even if DD loses his entire army, he will still be able to crush with the reinforcing units. 170 supply to 90. And there's the good game out of RSVP. Very nicely played by DDE. There was only 1 point where he was behind, and that was when that nice timing of the 2 Colossus came. But after that, I mean, it was all DDE's game.
Yeah, I mean, DDE just looked pretty good after that drop. There's really nothing that RSVP could do. He's really hoping that attack would do a lot of damage. And it actually was, but he couldn't commit to it because he had to go back and deal with that drop that we were talking about. So we're going to be moving on to game 2. Pretty good game 1, actually, from DDE. But I would really say that he's kind of the favorite here out of these 2 players. I mean, we saw him at the North American Invitational for BattleNet that Blizzard put on, I think, back in, I'm trying to remember when that was. Maybe it was August, early August, something like that. So he's obviously been to a lot of the bigger tournaments, but he's played RSVP a lot in tournament finals as well. So, Chill, any last thoughts before we move on to game 2?
Well, I thought, you know, RSVP had a good idea with that nice timing attack, and it worked well, but overall, DD just looked like a more solid player. RSVP had more obvious holes in his play, so I'd like to see on a map like we have in game number 2, Tal'Darim Altar, when he has more time to set up what he can do.
Yeah, so guys, quick commercial. When we come back, it's going to be game 2 between DDE and RSVP on Tal'Darim Altar. We'll see you guys then.